13th day of February 2025 marks the birthday of distinguished Senator Aliu Ikra Bilbis. On behalf of the Senate, I wish Senator Aliu Ikra Bilbis happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to his fatherland. Congratulations. Any petitions? No petition. Distinguished Senator Goje. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Anjimu Goje, presenting Gobe Central. Mr. President, I want to come on order 41 and 51, with your permission.
You may read.
Read?
Read the order.
Okay. Order 41. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting. The President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. If the claim is allowed by the President of the Senate and the leave of the Senate is given by at least 1/5 of all the senators, the matter shall stand over till the next legislative day. A senator moving a motion under combined orders 41 and 51 shall ensure that copies of the motion are available for all senators when approval to move the motion is granted. Not more than one such motion may be made at the same sitting. Order 51, notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present.
Distinguished colleagues, Senator Goje has referred this matter of urgent national importance to me. Is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to proceed? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Senator, you may proceed to move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this is a motion concerning the laudable program of Mr. President. So I'm speaking one as a senator representing Gobe Central, as well as the chairman, National Assembly Caucus of Northeast Zone, both Senate and House of Reps. Mr. President, the Senate recalls that at the Federal Executive Council meeting of Monday, 3rd February 2025, the federal government approved the sum of 4.2 trillion naira for the construction of Lagos-Calabar Road and other major highways and bridges across the country. Notes that these massive road infrastructure projects were conceived to deliberately address the deplorable state of federal road networks nationwide and the construction/rehabilitation of some, in line with the policy thrust of the current administration of His Excellency Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, to revamp the road infrastructure challenges in order to boost socio-economic development of this country. Comments, Mr. President, for this bold initiative, as it will go a long way to improve effective transport system as well as address challenges of insecurity, as criminal elements have taken advantage of the deplorable nature of highway road networks to perpetrate their nefarious and dastardly acts. Notes from the breakdown of the highway projects as listed in this day newspaper of Tuesday, 4th February 2025, and Daily Trust of Wednesday, 5th February 2025, respectively. The money will be spent on the following roads: Lagos Calabar Highway, Delta State Access Road, Anambra State Access Road, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Auchi Edo section, Benin Airport area section, Third Mainland Bridge, Ado Ekiti Igede Road, Onisha Owerri Expressway, Abia and Enugu State Road Projects, Odopani Junction to Apeti Central section of Calabar to Ikom and Ogoja Road, Abekuta Ajibo Road to Iyam Mose Road in Ogun State, Adulu Ajibo Road in Anambra State, Umuahia Ikwano Ikot Epene Road, Umuahia Umoduke, Ijebu Ego Tita in Ogun State, Lokoje Benin Road, Musasa Jos Road, Agai Kachia Baro Road in Niger State, Yola Fufure Gurun Road in Adamawa, and Karulami Road in Taraba. However, it is imperative to note that in this laudable project, the Northeast has only 2 road projects, that is, Yola Fufure Gurun Road in Adamawa State, 11 billion, and Karulami Road in Taraba State, 7 billion, totaling all about 19 billion out of the approved sum of 4.2 trillion, the whole zone. Also notes that apart from these 2 road projects listed in the Northeast, there are other very important road networks which are in bad conditions, such as the Bauchi Gombe Road, Biu Gombe Road, Poroskum Gombe Road, Darazo Gombe Road, Numan Jalingo Road, Yola Mubi Road, Yola Michika Madagali Goza Bama Road, Gurore Mayo Bolowa Zing Jalingo Road, Mayo Bolowa Jada Ganye Road, Biu Gombe Road, Tumaraba, of course, Biu Dambua Maiduguri Road, Biu Damatu Road, among others, which desperately require serious reconstruction and rehabilitation. Further notes that the Northeast is also the only zone in this country that's not connected to Mr. President's superhighway project embarked upon by this administration. I raised this issue before and I'm still raising it today, that Northeast is the only zone not connected to the superhighway project being undertaken by His Excellency Mr. President. Observes that the laudable intention behind the conception of these projects is to ensure connectivity by improving road safety with the aim of harnessing the viability of resources that abound across the length and breadth of this country, with a view to stimulating economic growth and development. Accordingly resolves: 1, commend the federal government for embarking on these ambitious and laudable projects that will go a long way to guarantee socio-economic and political well-being of the citizenry of this country. 2, urge the federal government to, as a matter of necessity, approve the rehabilitation of the listed deplorable roads in the Northeast. And 3, also urge the federal government to extend the renewed Hope Superhighway Road project to the Northeast so as to ensure full inclusion of the zone into the mainstream economic activities of this country. Thank you, Mr. President. I urge my colleagues to give support to this very important motion. Thank you.
Distinguished Chief Whip.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. First and foremost, I commend my chairman of the Northeast Senators Forum for rising up to the occasion and giving us all the necessary leadership with a view to jealously guarding and protecting and championing the cause of the Northeast, which is the most marginalized region of the country, having regard to neglect or relegation to the background by successive administrations. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I wholeheartedly adopt all the submissions contained in this motion as mine, and further wish to add that the Northeast region, as I said earlier on, is the most marginalized. There is serious infrastructure deficit, especially with regard to road networks, which has the potentials of leapfrogging our economic development and potentials. But unfortunately, as contained in this motion, we have been relegated to the background in terms of the renewed hope projects, and more particularly road network. I want to crave the indulgence of my colleagues in the Senate to support this motion so that the northeastern part of the country would also benefit the way other regions are benefiting from the very laudable program of Mr. President. I also equally want to add that there is one road network that was not included in this motion, which is in my senatorial district. The Maiduguri-Baga road is in a complete state of dilapidation and needs reconstruction. It's a road that starts from Maiduguri and leads up to the Lake Chad. So there is need for the inclusion of that road in the motion. At the appropriate time, I will move for an amendment so that this road would also be included as part of this motion. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. I'm Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. I stand to support this motion because of its importance. When we are talking about economic diversification, it does not only remains in how much revenue a country is generating, but it also translates to what kind of infrastructure and how that infrastructure is spread around the country. The previous administration made an initiative of a tax credit scheme. Even then, when that tax credit scheme was initiated, there were rules that were selected. Niger State happens to be a gateway for everything you know in terms of haulage between the south and the north. If you are coming either from the Lokoja axis, you will still cross Niger State. If you are coming from Lagos axis, you will still cross Niger State. From Jeba to Makera to Tegina to Bindingwari to Kaduna, that road is unmotorable. If you take from here to Mina to Suleja is just about 98 kilometers. That road has been there for about 14 years under construction with multiple of schemes. There is the Sukuk, and then there is also the tax initiative, the tax credit initiative, which NNPC is anchoring. but none is working. If you look at it again from Mina to Bida, we have the same thing, which the governor of Niger State have taken a bold step in doing the construction by the states. And then look at another road is Mina Tegina to Kontagora. These are all federal roads. Niger State happens to have the longest road network in this country. But I will be surprised to see that a road that there are no people there, no human beings. When you are talking of number, we are talking about doing something to benefit people, you do it where people will get the benefit. You are taking Baro, Kacha, Agaye Road, when there's nobody on that road. You are doing it because of Baro Port. Baro Port is not in existence. Nothing is there. So if you are spending 4-point-something trillion and all the roads concentrated in one place, how fair is that? I think the Senate needs to call on the Minister of Works. He should appear before the Senate so that we can review this thing. That is my take, Mr. President.
Senator Zam.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Dr. Titus Zam. I represent Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to support the motion presented by Senator Danjuma Goje about the need to expand the scope or the size of road networks in the country that require urgent federal government attention. And in supporting this motion, sir, they say charity begins at home. My own situation might even be worse than the rest of the roads that may be requiring federal government attention, because the Makodi Naka Road, which falls within my senatorial district and indeed my immediate local government of origin, as I speak to you, is no longer passable. And that happens to be the stretch that is home to all manner of insecurity that my own senatorial district is bedeviled with. Time and time again, Mr. Senate President, on the attention of these hallowed chambers to the need for us to do a holistic assessment of the road network in this country. Let us at least pick two roads in each of the senatorial districts here that are federal government roads, so that we can have a holistic approach to this, so that no part of this country will be left out in the federal government effort to take care of the road infrastructure in this country. I therefore associate myself with the submission made by the two previous speakers that the Minister of Works be invited to these chambers to have an interface with us so that we can present this dire need of the Senate for him to take us into consideration, so that all the parts of this country will be carried along in his decision to take care of the areas that may be requiring federal government attention as far as the road networks of this country is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Senate President and distinguished colleagues. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Kelvin.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues, my name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi West. Mr. President, I want to thank my leader, Senator Goje, for bringing this motion. But looking at the text of this motion, it will look as if it's only that, it will look as if Northeast was unfairly treated and it was intentional. That is not the situation. I was a member of the 8 reps, and I know a lot about what happened in the 9th rep. During the 8th year of last administration, a lot of effort was made on northeast roads. I'm not saying we have gotten there, but a lot of work was done on northeast roads. Coming back to road construction and rehabilitation problem in Nigeria, the problem is the fact that funds are not available. When you have road rehabilitation and construction going on all over the country, and year in, year out, we provide little fund here for those projects, not much is achieved. We need to take a holistic approach to management of our roads. We need to bring back toll gates all over the country. A lot of people are using our roads and they are not paying anything for it. Some of these companies, like some of these cement industries all over the nation, look at the kind of trucks they are using on our roads. Some of them are using more than even 60 tons a trailer on these roads. And they are spoiling our roads all over the country, and they are not paying anything for it. That is not what is happening in the other parts of the world. We need to find a way of bringing in funds for rehabilitation and reconstruction of our roads. Going back to my own state, if you look at Kaba, Ilorin Road, which has been awarded since 2014, the contractor left the site since 2016 and they are not doing anything because no availability of funds. And that is the situation all over the country. There is need for us to find a way around to bring in more funds for our roads. The Sukuk thing is, they've done a lot. The NMPC fund, they've done a lot, but that is not enough. There is need for us to declare state of emergency on our road and find a way around to generate more funds for the work. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished Senator Olare.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Oyewumi Kamarudin Olalere. I represent Osun West Senatorial District in Osun State. I want to start by aligning myself with the mover of this very important and timely motion, Senator Buje, and other speakers. But I want to say that the observation made is not only restricted to one section of the country. It happens in other areas, even in Southwest. In this plenary, I think about 2 or 3 times, we have raised the issue of Ibadan, Ikire, Ife, Ilesha, Akure to Owo express route. Sir, in Southwest, apart from Lagos-Ibadan expressway, that is the most congested road that we have in the Southwest, connecting about 5 different states. And the irony of it is that both Osun State and Ekiti State are landlocked states. We are not bound by ocean. There's no way we can benefit from coastal highways. And that is not our making. So when we are choosing this kind of road, as important as they are, I think our priorities should be very key. These are major roads that have been started in the last 7-8 years. And they have not reached, the work done there is not up to 20% as we speak. So I want to suggest that the Minister of Works has been suggested should be invited, and we collect these priority roads that Nigerians will know that we truly mean business, because this money we are spending there is humongous, and the idea is very good, but the priorities should be well placed to those areas that are very key. So if Ibadan, Ikire, Ilesha Express Route is very key and should be taken seriously with the one that has been chosen. I so submit, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Idiot.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Idiat Oluranti Adebule. I represent the good people of Lagos West. Your Excellency, the most important of what we're discussing this morning is the fact that all of our roads in the nation need attention. Yes, Senator Godi has raised issue about the Northeast. It is not only about the Northeast, it's about Nigeria. And I want to give kudos to this administration for the massive road infrastructure they are doing. Yes, they cannot finish it at a go. We will all continue to raise issues that has to do with our respective states and senatorial districts. I tell you, even the coastal road has a lot of importance and benefit for the people in that area. I know that government, through the tax credit initiative, is already working on Makurdi and Maiduguri and Kano Road, and all of that other roads that are of importance to the people of Nigeria. Therefore, I align myself with the request that the Honorable Minister for Works should be invited. Because I recall very well, Your Excellency, when we came in 2023, you directed, Your Excellency, Mr. Senate President, directed that all the roads that requires attention in the nation should be compiled. And Senator Abiru headed that committee. And I recall that compendium was handed over to the minister. It may be an opportunity for us to ask the minister what has been done about that compilation that we did. And if there is need for us to update that compilation, it will not be out of place. Your Excellency, Mr. President, it is true that our roads across Nigeria require attention, and I therefore support the motion that the Honorable Minister should be invited to please speak to the Senate about what is happening, notwithstanding the fact that we do not have enough funds, but then we must see that effort is being made. Today, I stand before you to represent the people of Lagos West, and I'll be able to speak about Lagos-Badagry Road. Lagos-Badagry Road was commenced around 2023. Up until now, Lagos-Badagry has not been completed. Similarly, Lagos-Abeokuta is also there. These are roads that will plead that the Honorable Minister and the Senate should please call the attention of the Minister to. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to speak.
Distinguished Senator Issa Jibrin.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues. I am Issa Jibrin, representing the very good people of Kogi East. Your Excellency, first I want to appreciate the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for identifying some of these roads, okay, that have virtually become nightmares to transporters. I equally want to appreciate Senator Goje for bringing up the issue of marginalization of the Northeast. Okay, I quite appreciate. But Mr. President, I want to say something here, that in as much as I sympathize with the other contributors that have zeroed in into their own various localities, I want to state that this motion is specific to Northeast. And I don't want it to be diluted. Okay, let us focus on this Northeast. If you have your own request, bring it to the fore. Let's concentrate on the Northeast as it has been presented here. But going forward, Your Excellency, road construction is not a one-year project. I think what the Federal Ministry of Works needs to do is to identify all the roads that are in deplorable conditions in Nigeria and come up with a 4 or 5 year program, okay, so that year 1, XYZ roads will be constructed, year 2, ABCDs, come up with specific roads, okay, specific road maps, so that no part of the country will feel alienated. If that has been done, we won't be where we are today. If, for example, they say, okay, in this financial year, XYZ roads, as been mentioned here, will be given attention to. In the next budget, Northeast will be given attention. Let it be that there will be that long-term plan. Because whether you like it or not, there is budget constraint, and there's no way we can address all the roads at the same time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Garba.
Thank you very much, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Garba Musa Maidoki, representing Kebbi South. I would like to commend His Excellency Senator Goje for this motion, sir. But, sir, I want to always keep our focus, even though we are elected by our individual senatorial district. We are the Senate for Nigeria. And if we are the Senate for Nigeria, I think we should begin to do things holistically so that Nigeria is our main focus. You've raised a committee to go through all the roads in this country. The committee has submitted its reports. I want to align with Karimi and the Senator Jibrin that going forward, sir, this will be our way of developing the country so that each region, each area is given attention. We cannot underestimate the importance of Lagos to all Nigeria, sir. For us in Kebbi and Sokoto, almost whatever we produce, we send it to Lagos for sale. And whatever we consume, we import it from Lagos. So if the Lagos highway down to Kebbi is not in good order, it looks like whatever we produce will not be able to be sold because our market mostly is in Lagos and the Southwest. So we commend the President for that initiative. Be that as it may be, we have the budget constraint, we know, Your Excellency. We still plead that whatever we do in this country, sir, in this Senate, that we should set up a committee to look at it holistically, then prioritize our actions and follow the roadmap we have developed. If that is done, I'm sure all these agitations will be minimized. But I would also like to point out to you, the Senate President, in 2023, you have promised that the roads to Zuru will be fixed. Unfortunately, it was not. In 2024, you've made the same pledge while you are sitting as the Senate President. And I am believing that this 2025, that road will be taken into consideration. I'm begging this honorable House. Last time, I couldn't invite any senator to my district so that for the marriage of my daughter. And the reason was because of bad road and banditry. Sir, the banditry issue has been curtailed significantly, but the road issue, sir, is still where it is. I'm still obliging and begging this August Assembly to intervene so that road infrastructures can be evenly distributed within the budget constraint of the Federation. I so submit, Senate President. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, let me appreciate Senator Karimi. Did you speak?
Yeah, he spoke. In fact, twice, Kogi people spoke twice.
Yeah, you know you can't speak twice. Senator Maruki.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your mic is off now.
Mr. President, my order is Order 52, Rule 4. A senator must confine his observation to the subject under discussion and may not introduce matter irrelevant thereto. Senator Medoki said in 2023 you promised him that you will repair their road. In 2024 you promised. This is in a national thing like this. Did you make such promise to him in this floor? Did you make such promise?
Point of order, please. Points of order, please.
Yeah, your point of order, Senator Karimi, is sustained. There is point of order, Senator Chief Whip.
Well, my own is just to bring order that we should not engage in a shouting match in the course of our proceedings. Every senator should be recognized first before he makes his comments or observations. That is my observation.
I hope the civil Senator Sani Musa, who was talking with high tone, is listening to you. Your point of order is sustained. Yes, Senator Olamileko.
Thank you, Mr. President. Adeola Solomon Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District. Mr. President, I am a little bit disturbed because Northeast Development Commission is on the first line charge against the budget. That is, they are on the statutory reserves or statutory revenues. And as such, on a monthly basis, their money should be released on the first line charge. But if there is a motion that centers on underfunding of the agency, I think it is only right and proper to call the Accountant General of the Federation to give explanation to this. And I want to implore maybe the mover of the motion to add as part of his prayers that we should invite the Minister of Finance and the Accountant General of the Federation why Northeast Development Commission has not been funded despite being on the statutory revenue, which is supposed to be released on a monthly basis.
Have they, has the Development Commission complained?
Not, I think the motion centers on the funding of the agency. Oh, okay. I don't know. It's not. Roads in the Northeast Development, in the Northeast generally. Well, that's positive.
The motion is on the amount appropriated for roads in the country, and then in particular that the ones in the Northeast seem to have a smaller chunk of the total. It doesn't have anything to do with the Northeast Development Commission.
Mr. President, I want to say this, that this is not only associated with the Northeast alone. As we are aware, the capital releases for the year is not encouraging. And you also know that you have taken steps in that direction to ensure that there is improvement in the 2024 capital releases, which cut across. It's not only associated with works, but across the MDAs. So I want to say that what the motion or the prayer is asking for, we can only attend to that by inviting the Minister of Finance, the Accountant General, which we in the appropriation has continuously engaged concerning the releases as regarding the capital expenditure. And I strongly believe that that will fall under the discussion that is currently going on the floor.
Well, let me say that Senator Goje, information.
Thank you, Mr. President. Looks like there is a misconception by Olamilekon and some other people about this motion. This motion is talking, if you look at my motion, the first paragraph I said, I referred to the Federal Executive Council meeting where 4.2 trillion has been approved for some roads. And those roads are listed there. And I said, out of that 4.2 trillion, we only got 19 billion. And I'm saying that we should get more from that. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not saying they should never get it, but we too, we should also get it. Out of 4.2 trillion, you give one zone 19 billion, you give another zone 3 trillion. It's unfair. That's what I'm trying to say. That's all. I'm not saying they should get it. We too should get it in the Northeast. That's the crux of my motion.
Well, this is only 1 year's budget. And I believe that we have done budgets since 1960. The motion is good. And what the motion is saying is talking about rehabilitation and reconstruction of existing roads. The budget on over 3-4 trillion has a lot to do with the construction of new roads. which has to do with the coastal road to try to link the which has to do with the coastal road, which totally was non-existent before the administration came on board. I believe strongly that if previous administrations in the country had actually gone into a serious roadmap on road construction and rehabilitation, most of the complaints we are having will not be there. As Senator Goje was presenting his motion, I was just imagining what will happen in 10 years' time when others will jump up to say that the coastal road is in deplorable condition and that nothing has happened since construction and that section this to this, nobody can pass and all that. And you know, coastal road is easy to erode as a result of salt and swampy nature of the terrain. Until we have a serious roadmap on road maintenance in the country, and like Senator, I think Senator Idia suggested, we should have a roadmap on how to maintain our roads and also how to ensure reconstruction. I give you an example. For instance, the only road linking Cross River State and Akwa Ibom was done in 1975 by either RCC or Fujiro. But within it, they left a provision that there should be an overlay in 7 years. 40 years after, that overlay was not done. And so because of the amount of traffic on that road and the heavy thrust from Akamba, which carries all the aggregates for construction and distributes it to the rest of the southeast, south-south, the road has gone totally. And today, people are dying on the waterways between Mboi, Akwa Ibom, and Calabar because there was no plan to maintain the road and there was no plan to keep the road in motorable condition. So we'll continue to have these kind of issues unless we sit down and even if we declare an emergency on road construction and rehabilitation, we must have the roadmap for maintenance of existing infrastructure in the country. Otherwise, we spend all the money, spend all the trillions, and then the next Senate, the next National Assembly will still be inundated with these kind of issues. I believe strongly that even for the outside world to listen to us complaining about roads and rehabilitation, it's a shame on the planlessness of the Ministry of Works in the country. So let us go straight into the prayers and see what we can do to improve the amount of money going into the northeastern part of the country. Otherwise, we concentrate on new constructions while the northeast becomes inaccessible. So let's look at the prayers. Pray. Senator Olamileko. The leader said, as chairman of appropriation, that you have explanation to make that can allay the fears of all the regions and zones in the country on the budget for roads. What is the explanation?
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I want to say this, that the issue raised by Senator Goje, I want to thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who ordinarily was trying to provide for the coastal road project that is going on, which is to the tune of the 4.2 trillion. That is the two coastal roads, the Lagos, the Badagry Sokoto, and the Lagos Calabar coastal road. But out of which the president now approved that for all the existing roads, that the sum of 500 billion naira. Yeah, that the sum of 500 billion naira be set aside out of the 4.2 to be given to all existing road projects that across the country. And that was what was allotted to all projects across that is going on, that is currently going on, that they should not be abandoned. Not that the 4.2 trillion was shared into the 6 geopolitical zone and one zone got just 19 billion. The two was meant for the two coastal road projects, but out of which the president has said we should take or set aside 500 billion to be distributed among all other ongoing road projects across the country. That was what really happened. Not that the 4.2 trillion was divided into 6 geopolitical zones and one zone got 90 billion. That's not the position. The position was it's the two coastal road that was to be taken care of, and out of it, the president now we should set aside 500 billion, which was shared among more than 150 or 60 roads across the country. That was transferred, sir.
Noted. Well, from the deputy Senate leader, as part of the explanation espoused by distinguished Senator Olamileko, deputy leader has further exposed the fact that the money majorly goes to two major roads: Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, and then Sokoto to Lagos.
President, that's the situation. It's distorted. If I want, I can give details of those allocations. I didn't want to do it because I don't want to be controversial. I enlisted the roads, Mr. President. I enlisted them. The money is there. I didn't.
The chairman of appropriation. The chairman of appropriation is telling you. The chairman of appropriation is telling you that it is
Mr. the President, I disagree. Don't distort. I will not agree with distortion. Don't distort it, please. I'm not against anybody. We too, we should get it.
I can't rely on this day's report.
Chief Whip, can you maintain order?
Order, please. Yeah.
Let's not make a political capital out of something that we have not seen.
It has been approved. It's not budget.
He's saying that majorly the money appropriated for 2025 in terms of road will go to majorly Lagos Calabar Coastal Road and then Sokoto to Lagos. Because those two, please speak when you are recognized. Because those two roads are a priority of the government to do from all the way from Sokoto to Lagos and then do all the way from Lagos to Calabar. That's a priority of the administration. Then the leftover of 500 million is now shared into all the 36 states in order to maintain the ongoing road projects in the country to avoid abandonment. That means in essence that it is not done on the basis of regions or zones. So if there was, I believe that this explanation should suffice. But let's look at the prayers and just close this discussion. Prayer 1, commend the federal government for embarking on these ambitious and laudable projects that will go a long way to guarantee socio-economic and political well-being of the citizenry of this country. Those in support that the federal government be commended for this project say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the federal government to, as a matter of necessity, approve the rehabilitation of the listed deplorable roads in the northeast. I would have said also in the south-south. I would have, Senator Sane, you want to amend the prayer?
Yes, I want to amend that, sir.
Amend.
My name is Senator Muhammad Sani Musa, Niger East. I'm not going to shout now. I urge the Senate to amend the second prayer to read, urge the federal government to, as a matter of necessity, approve the rehabilitation of all the deplorable roads across Nigeria. I so moved.
Distinguished Senator Ome.
Mr. President, I remain Senator Victor Ume, OFR. Stand up to second the amendment to Prayer 2, which says that urge the federal government, as a matter of necessity, approve the rehabilitation of all the deplorable roads across the Federation of Nigeria. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, Prayer 2 has been amended and seconded to read that we should urge the federal government of Nigeria to, as a matter of necessity, approve the rehabilitation of all deplorable roads across the entirety of Nigeria. Those in support of Prayer 2 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal government to extend the renewed Hope Superhighway Road Project to the northeastern part of Nigeria, so as to ensure full inclusion of the zone into the mainstream economic activities of the country. Those in support of Prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank my brother, the Senator Goje, for bringing this all-important motion to the fore. And then, of course, also thank the distinguished Senator Olamileko for his explanation that the Northeast has not been left out, and that cognitions shall be taken or has been taken, even in the current budget, to address most of the deplorable roads mentioned by Senator Goje in the motion. So I thank all my colleagues for their contributions and pray that monies will be available, the economy will improve, prosperity will come to Nigeria to enable the government address most of the concerns of all citizens of the country to their satisfaction. I thank you all. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 490. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
The Clerk of the
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 490, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 490, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Banigo Ikpalibo Harry on the Customs and Excise Management Pharmaceutical Inputs Duty Exemption Act Amendment Bill 2025, Bill 704. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Customs and Excise Management Pharmaceutical Inputs Duty Exemption Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 704, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Customs and Excise Management Pharmaceutical Inputs Duties Exemption Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 704, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Kaka Shehu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, on the Nigerian Citizenship Bill 2025, SB 705. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Citizenship Bill 2025, SB 705, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Citizenship Bill 2025, SB 705, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Jibril Issa on the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 706. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Orthopedic Hospital Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 706, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 706, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Etim Bassi Anekan on the Investment Assurances Bill 2025, SB 711. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Investment Assurances Bill 2025, SB 711, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Investment Assurances Bill 2025, SB 711, first reading taken. Clerk of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. The first order of the day is the second reading of the North Central Development Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 703. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 12th February 2025. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to lead the second debate as a prelude to my motion for it to be read a second time. And in doing that, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I rise to lead the debate on the general principles of the North Central Development Commission Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 703. The bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, the 12th day of February 2025. The bill seeks to amend the North Central Development Commission Act 2025 to provide for representatives from the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation. This is in line with the principles of federal character as entrenched in Section 14 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The amendment is also informed by the judgment of the Federal High Court, Abuja, where the court, while reviewing the validity or otherwise of Section 4, subsections 1A and B of the Police Trust Fund Act, which provides for payment to the fund of 0.5% of the total revenue accruing to the Federation account and 0.005% of the net profit of companies operating in Nigeria, ruled that Section 4.1A and B of the fund, which is similar to the provision under review, directly contradicts the provision of Section 162, subsections 1 and 3 of the Constitution. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, Section 14 of the Act is in conflict with the provision of Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Therefore, this proposed amendment is intended to address the conflict and forestall unnecessary litigations. This will facilitate the smooth takeoff of the Commission, which is presently hindered by the controversies generated by this section. In the light of the foregoing, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, it is imperative that we expedite action on the passage of this bill so as to set the stage for the full implementation of the Act. I therefore most respectfully urge you all to support the expeditious passage of this bill. I thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to second the motion that this bill be read a second time, and by your indulgence, make a few comments on the reason why I will urge my colleagues to support this amendment to fast-track the early passage and implementation of the provisions of the North Central Development Act. Mr. President, it is part of the rule that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a grand norm of the nation, and that all rules and regulations and actions must conform with the provisions of the Constitution. It is therefore imperative that where, even as an instance case, there are certain sections of the Act that conflict with the provisions or certain provisions of the Constitution, they must be amended accordingly and appropriately so that the Senate will not be acting in vain, because it is crystal clear that any part of any law that conflicts with the provisions of the Constitution, ab initio, remains null and void to the extent of this conflict. Mr. President, I therefore urge my colleagues to please, in the spirit with which we passed the North Central Development Bill that was assented to by Mr. President, that we approve this amendment so that Mr. President can act in the same vein to give effect to the provisions of the Act of the North Central Development Commission. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you, distinguished Minority Leader, and thank you to the Senate Leader for moving this motion. Actually, when we looked at the previous development commissions, we used the word mutandis, mutatis mutandis. So I think that is what was left out in the committee on the committee that did the harmonization. Otherwise, there would have been no need for this. So it's very straightforward. Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the North Central Development Commission Act 2025 and for related matters 2025 SB 703. Second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the North Central Development Commission Act 2025 and for related matters 2025. Second reading taken. This is committed to the Committee of the Whole for conclusion. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. May I then, at this point, rise to move that the Senate resolve to a Committee of the Whole for further consideration of this bill. I so move.
Yes.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate Leader that the Senate resolves into the Committee of the Whole to further consider the bill. I so submit.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support that we resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the bill clause by clause, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Where is it? You're supposed to be doing all this for him. Listen, colleagues, those in favor that plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 7, 8, 9, and 10 stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of the Senate. Explanatory memorandum. Those in favor that should stand part of the bill, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Those in favor that the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the, those in support of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the minority, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Report. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on the North Central Development Commission Act 2025, Amendment Bill 2025, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 9 as recommended, short title as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill be now read for the third time. I so move.
Can you second the motion, please?
Distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the bill be read a third time. I so second.
The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the North Central Development Commission Act 2025 and for related matters 2025 SB 703. Third reading.
A bill for an act to amend the North Central Development Commission Act 2025 and for related matters 2025, third reading taken and passed. So let me commend the Leader of the Senate for bringing forward this bill in order to correct the anomaly that was embedded in the Principal Act. And I think with this bill, with the passage of this bill and the anticipated assent of Mr. President, the North Central Commission will begin to function as soon as possible for the benefit of the people of the North Central geopolitical zone. Thank you all for your contribution to the passage of this bill. Where is the new other paper? The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, there is a need for us to go into an executive session to be able to deal with some issues of public importance. And in view of that, I'm rising to move that the Senate now goes into an executive session to be back in plenary once issues are resolved. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate resolves into the committee, into executive session to discuss matters of urgent and vital national importance. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by the Leader for the Senate to resolve into executive session and seconded by the minority leader. Please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.